You don't become the second best-selling pickup truck in the US without being incredibly good, which is exactly true for the Chevy Silverado. This behemoth of a truck has always been one of America's sweethearts due to its incredible practicality, handsome looks, and a solid interior. However, the new version of the Silverado promises not just to be as good as the F-150 and Ram 1500, but straight up better than both. So, let's not waste any time and take a look at how the all-new 2025 Chevrolet Silverado blows away the competition. The only real V8 pickup truck. After the 2025 Ram dropped the Hemi V8 in favor of a measly 6-cylinder, and after Ford started practically forcing its EcoBoost V6 instead of the good old Coyote V8, the end of a V8 engine in a half-ton pickup truck started looking closer and closer than ever before. Not according to Chevy, though. Chevy knows that commoners like us adore having a gargantuan 8-cylinder lump under the hood, and that's exactly why they decided not just to replace the V8, but also keep all its iterations and versions intact with the Silverado. You see, the Chevy Silverado comes not with one, but with two V8 engines. The first one is a 5.3-liter EcoTech V8, and the other one is a ginormous 6.2-liter. The 5.3-liter pushes out a modest but still reassuring 355 HP and has upwards of 380 pound-per-foot of torque. As a result, a Silverado with this engine can tow up to a respectable 11,500 pounds, which is neck to neck with the maximum towing capacity of the Ram 1500. On the other hand, the 6.2-liter is an actual beast when it comes down to towing capacity. This engine has around 420 HP and 460 pound-per-foot of torque, which allows it to tow up to 13,300 pounds. This is far more than the Ram can tow and could ever tow, but is still a bit less than the F-150. That said, you'll really need a heavy-duty pickup truck if you actually intend on regularly towing 14,000 pounds, as neither of the three would really be a good pick. Interestingly enough, the Silverado also comes with a 3.0 Duramax inline-6 diesel, which offers the same kind of towing capacity as the 6.2, while also being more frugal. This is also the last diesel in the full-size pickup truck lineup, so if you're up for an oil burner, it's either the Silverado or going for a heavy-duty truck. In addition to this, entry-level models come with the high-output version of GM's 2.7-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, as much as we hate small engines in a half-ton pickup truck, we have to say that this one is okay, as it pushes out a very healthy 310 horsepower and a very solid 430 pound-per-foot of torque. As a result, the truck can tow up to 9,500 pounds, which is very impressive for a measly 4-cylinder. Handsomely athletic design. Aside from being incredibly capable, the Silverado is also incredibly good-looking too. In fact, we'd argue that it's far better looking than the F-150, and albeit the Ram 1500 is a more elegant design, we still have to say that Chevy has nothing to be ashamed of. To put it simply, the Silverado is by far the most modern-looking pickup truck of the bunch. From the front, those grille-integrated headlights give it a more petite and a fair bit sportier look than its rivals, all of which have a more bulbous and much chunkier front end. In addition to that, we love the fact that the front is so vertically cut that, as a silhouette, it gives out a much more massive and rugged appearance than its rivals do. In fact, this ruggedness is only amplified once you take a look at the sides of the truck, as its large, squared-off wheel arches only make the Silverado look more industrious and more capable. This is especially true for the models with increased ride height, such as the ZR2. The rear of the truck is more subdued though, but not in a bad way. It retains the same sharp design language as the rest of the car, most prominently with those taillights that have a similar look as the headlights. But the tailgate isn't overly fussy, which was, in our opinion, a great call by Chevy. That said, if you find the exterior design a bit too radical and too youthful for your taste, the GMC Sierra should be a good choice for you, as apart from some surface-level changes, these two are identical. Gorgeous and ergonomic interior. Now, as much as we like the outside of the Silverado, we adore the inside of it. Simply put, we think that the Silverado has by far the best-looking and most user-friendly interior out of all its rivals. For starters, you get a gorgeous 13.4-inch horizontal screen in the middle of the dashboard, which has a very crisp resolution. It is very responsive to use and is generally very intuitive. It is paired with a digital gauge cluster, which makes the interior look contemporary. However, because these two aren't a part of the same panel, which has become a trend nowadays, it also gives a bit of a traditional feel, making it the best possible middle ground between modernity and tradition. Oh, and did we mention that you'll also have a bunch of buttons to work with too? Albeit the Silverado values modern features, it also gives their buyers physical commands such as regular climate controls, buttons for heated and ventilated seats, as well as many other things that just make it a much better choice than, say, the new Ram 1500, which relies on a fully touch-capacitive center console in its higher echelons. Now, sure, the Silverado isn't without its faults, the biggest of which is the fact that the interior quality is rather lackluster, specifically when you compare it with the high-end Ram 1500 trims. However, don't let that hold you from purchasing it, as the interior still is pretty good, especially compared to the pre-redesigned model. And even if you simply cannot live with a luxurious interior, GM has got you covered, as the GMC Sierra comes with a similar interior that is better built. That said, we must mention that the entry-level work truck and custom come with the same interior as the pre-facelift model, which is just hateful. Fantastic off-road performance. Let's face it, you're not buying a pickup truck to keep it a pavement princess. You're buying it because you need a competent, functional do-it-all vehicle, and that's exactly what Chevy set out to do with the Silverado. However, they might have added a bit more of that special juice when it comes down to off-roading, as the Silverado is a true beast off-road. To understand how much Chevy has invested into its off-roading capabilities, almost all trim levels can be outfitted with the Z71 off-road package, including the WT, LT, RST, LTZ, and High Country. And those that cannot be outfitted with it are already off-road ready, such as the Trail Boss trims and the ZR2. In fact, let's focus on the ZR2. This range-topping beast comes as standard with a 2-speed transfer case, electronic licking front and rear differentials, bespoke 18-inch wheels, and 33-inch off-road tires. You also get a high-mounted steel bumper, which allows the Silverado to have a 31.8-degree approach angle. Plus, you also get spool valve dampers to compensate for the truck's off-road nature. And finally, due to it being a bit narrower compared to the F-150 Raptor and the Ram 1500 RHO, it makes it much easier to maneuver on a wider number of terrains. Now, sure, when compared to the RHO and the Raptor, the ZR2 falls a bit short, mainly because it is much weaker than the two. However, it'll still hold its own well against them, no matter what. And for more than $10,000 less, we're pretty content with that. That brings us to the most important part of this video: pricing and trim levels. The Chevrolet Silverado is by far the most affordable pickup truck out of the bunch, as it starts from around $37,500, which is $2,000 less than the F-150 and $4,000 less than the Ram 1500. That said, this price tag is for the work truck version, which is, as we've already established, bad, and we'd advise you to skip it if you need a do-it-all vehicle. The custom should be avoided too, as it comes with a very limited number of features compared to the work truck, but costs over $6,000 more. The first real trim you should indulge on is the LT, which starts at a little less than $49,000. And for that money, you'll be getting a new interior, better profiled seats, and better exterior styling. Next up is the RST, and it is our pick if you're looking for an AWD version of the Silverado. It's just $1,000 more than the AWD version of the LT, and is in our opinion a better choice, as it comes with more special trim on the outside as well as better wheel design. We'd skip the LT Trail Boss though, as albeit a competent off-roader, it's also $60,000, which is coming very close to the ZR2. Not to mention that it, alongside all other previous trims, comes with the 2.7-liter as standard, and to upgrade it you'll have to add at least $1,000 more. The LTZ and the High Country are also best left avoided, as albeit good, you're simply better off with a GMC Sierra at this point, as you'll get a better interior and comfort for a similar amount of money. Finally, the ZR2's asking price at $70,000 might be alluring. However, we'd argue that the Raptor and RHO outclass it, so go for those if you've got the money. If not, The ZR2 will be a solid choice too, but you'll always feel like you bought second best.